Uh-oh. Oh, we're live. Les voy a enseñar mi gatita. Nomás que no sé dónde está. A ver, ¿dónde está la cosita? Hmm. Mm-mm. Uh-oh. Poo-poo. Piru-piru. Let me see. No. Test. Okay, let me see. Mm-hmm. 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 Así es que, oh, hi. Look at my little kitty. My little kitty's here. That's my little kitty. Little kitty's asleep. She was here with me right now. She was all over me. But now she's tired. She's asleep. Very tired. Oops. Okay. Ooh, that's scarier. Okay, so let me see. Um, Ustedes no han visto mi gatito aquí, esta gentío que está aquí. Les voy a enseñar mi gatita, a ver si pueden verla. Oh, oh. Ay. A ver. Ven la gatita. No sé si se mira. Ahí está la gatita. Está dormidita ahí. Right there she is asleep. That is my little kitty. She came before to visit with me, and then she decided to go into the chair in front of me and go to sleep. And now she's asleep, and now I'm eating grapes. Do you remember when in the 1970s, Hola, es la secretaria, hi secretary. In the 1950s, Cesar Chavez was having this huelga, strike against grapes. He changed the whole world, really, for the growers, and especially for those who were working for the growers, who had no rights, really, except the right to work real hard. But they wouldn't let them go. Well, they didn't have restrooms for them, so the women just had to put their blouses up and right there in front of everybody. It was just inhumane. Not all. There were some growers that were wonderful, but even when I was in Wattsville, there were still. I remember I was in a German documentary. I'll show you part of it one day, and they they were talking to a grower, and they were telling him, so isn't it dangerous we put all the pesticides and all that? No, we never do it when they're working. And then they showed a clip while he was talking. This big motherload machine passing by, spraying that evil stuff as the people were working and picking the grapes. Please. Hmm? It's a shame. So, no water breaks. It just work. Now with the unions, they're doing a great job. Although there's a grower that I knew, uh, the famous one about with the strawberries, he was very kind to them. He gave them better rights than the unions, better pay, better everything, and would have mass for them once in a while on special occasions. So there are good people. Don't bunch them all up and oh, all these people are evil. That's what ruins a lot of good people and their work because put them all in one bunch and say all these people are evil. Not all the people are evil. Oh, and we have to pray for our president. I don't care if you like him or not, or if you're going to vote for him or not. We pray for our leader. We're not like other people. If he's really doing bad things, then we should bring it up to him. There's a way. Hi, Vicky Sanchez de Caballero. Vicky, when she was a little girl, how old were you, Vicky, when you made that movie with Clint Eastwood and you didn't even know that you were going to be in it as such? I mean, you knew it was like you were in a movie, but You were too young really to let it all sink in. Then one day, years later, um, she she's watching TV with her husband, and they're showing this movie with Clint Eastwood, and it's in Mexico, and these women are carrying a piñata, but it's full of dynamite to blow up the. It was about in the early 1900s. She was 7 years old. She's here now, Vicky, and so she's walking. Then I went and got the movie and I watched it too. But she's walking, and then all of a sudden, so she goes, "That's me, and that's my sister." Can you imagine? Well, she's a wonderful woman. She helped people who were dire need, and this diner in Watsonville used to be filled up every day. Wow. Yes, and she was in charge of it, I think. Yeah, huh? At least co-charge of it, and did a wonderful job. And then she moved to the Midwest. Boo. But I don't know. Are you back now for good, Vicky? Because I'd like to go visit you, even if we're in this pandemic. Then years later, I met Clint Eastwood, and then he ties in with the Salesians because when they were doing Dirty Harry, I think I told you this before. There was a priest called Father Mazzuero, and Father Mazzuero was another. I mean, our Salesians have done a lot of stuff that people don't know. We were partly responsible for bringing the Lakers to LA. Did you know that? Yes, Father Malloy, John Malloy, put in a lot of money in, taking a chance that, this thing might not happen, but it happened. But that's another story. Well, anyway, so I talked to Clint Eastwood, and he said, "Oh, Father, how you doing?" Fine, fine. We were having some type of a thing in Watsonville, and he came to dedicate this new theater. I think I told you before. Yeah. So anyway, I was talking to him about Father Mazzuero because I knew Father knew him, and because he had worked there in our parish, St. Peter and Paul's Church, one of the most famous and most photographed churches in the world, really. You can see any movie, like for instance, Barbara Streisand, "What's Up, Doc?" There, she's running down past our church, starting with the silent movie uh, of what's his name, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. They filmed it even before they had finished the church. They liked the facade in front. Somebody from Hollywood had seen it, and then they came all the way from Hollywood up to San Francisco and did that scene where Quasimodo, well, sanctuary, sanctuary. Remember that? That was a cool movie. They did it 3 times. I've seen it 3 times with Charles Lawton, and then with Anthony Quinn, another friend of mine, kind of. I was a friend of his mom. My mom was a friend of her, of his mother. They were from Chihuahua. They were natives. She was a native. She was a native. She was a indigenous person, and she remembers carrying Anthony Quinn, little kid. Well, his name was Anthony Quinn. She was espoused to a man who was Irish, handsome young man, and she married him, kind of, and something. I don't know the whole story, but they wouldn't let him stay with her because she was an Indian. He was Irish man. So, but she was left alone, and then she took little Anthony with her, crossed the Rio Grande, so she almost lost him. There's a scene in this movie, I think it was called America Me, or I forget, but there's a scene where this woman has the baby and she's crossed and she almost loses the child. That was Anthony Quinn's story. They took it from his story. Well, anyway, I visited her and my mom. They became friends. Them Chihuahua. They were both from Chihuahua. And so I've had so many experiences. Thank you, Jesus. And so anyway, yeah. Well, no more of these wonderful little stories that I've gone through. But yeah, so that's life. What are you gonna do? So today, yeah, I just lost thread of thought, and now I don't know where I am. Yeah, it's terrible when you're told that your memory is down to 43%. Any more lower than that, and I don't think I'm even going to know who I am. Who are you? I don't know. But it's nice to know what percentage you're in, more or less. I know that some people, especially here, thought that I wasn't listening to them when they were speaking, but it was that I couldn't hear. And I would tell people, I can't hear you. Go, oh, you're just not paying attention. Oh, you're just not paying attention. Or you're just not paying attention. So I said, no, this is too much. So I went to the um, audiologist, I think they call them aureologist, yeah, from the Latin, God only knows. The ear doctor, and they tested me, and sure enough, I really can't hear out of this ear hardly because I got hit by a snowball. And I go, you got hit by a snowball. So what? I was in the seminary and I was living for 6 years in New Jersey. Now, some people never liked living there, but I liked it. That was cool. Sometimes it was lonely but thank God we have a lot of guys from the Western province. We're two provinces, East and West, the Salesians. And so I was in the Western province. We had to go over there for our college, and I had to go for 2 more years because I wasn't really in a seminary, a junior seminary, a high school seminary, but I wish I had been in high school. Everybody says, ooh, that would have been weird. No, a lot of those guys are more mature and more respectful of women than people that had gone through any public or outside high school. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are. It depends on what education you want to have and how they treat you. And there they treated people so nicely. Father Roger Luna was there, Father Frank Vangelis. They had the best. And well, anyway, back to me. I had to go for another year. It's called seminary year before I went to novitiate. And novitiate was where you start really thinking about if you want to be a Salesian. And then after that year, you take vows, first vows and second vows. And then you take the biggies, the perpetual vows, forever, endeavor, endeavor, endeavor until you find somebody. No, it's joking. Well, you're supposed to do it forever, but some people don't. That doesn't mean that they're bad. We should think that. In fact, when I was in seminary, when somebody left, it was like one day he was there and the next day he was gone. And I didn't have time to say goodbye to any of my best friends, but that was the way things worked in those days. You can't go back and say, ooh, bad, bad, bad people. No, because that's the way it worked everywhere. They all tell you, oh, excuse me, clean my little computer here. Oh, yuck. So anyway, yeah. So where were we? Oh, so then I had to go for 4 years of 4 years of college there, but at our sophomore year, they decided to bring us back to the West. Thank God. Otherwise, I would have been there all the way straight for 6 years and not come home for nada. We just came for summers, and that was it. After that, thank God. So anyway, where were we? Oh yeah. So it was snowy, of course. Well, it's always snowy after, say, October or November. And we were having a snowball fight. And there was this kid, I'll never forget it. Last name was Podesta. And he wanted to be a brother. He was really very strong. He was really buffed out. And so he made a snowball so hard. It was like, he could make snowball that knock you out, really. And so he made one that was really, really hard. And as I was turning toward, he was in front of me and he was not that far. And with all his arm, his pitching arm, dodger, whatever, wham, he threw it. And just as he threw it, thank God I turned this way because I was wearing glasses. I would have smashed him. And I turned this way and it hit me right dead in the ear as I was turning this way. So it went directly into the ear and burst my eardrum. Well, it was so cold that it shut the wound. Okay, so then I go to sleep that night, and in the morning I wake up and my entire pillow is dribbled with blood. Dracula. And then I panic. So I go, oh, I think my brain is bleeding. So then they took me to the doctor, and then the doctor said, put these drops in, and it's just infected. And your eardrum is broke. There's a busted through, it's torn. So I said, oh, Why me? So, okay, the first time they sit me down, I was in the, I had to have somebody administer because I couldn't see. I couldn't, it only had to be 2 drops, no more and no less. So then I had my ear like this, and there must have been like about 2 or 3 people in the barber shop. And I was in the barber shop. We had a barber shop. We had 3 barber chairs. Really cool. So anyway, they put the little drops in, and as soon as it hit my ear, I screamed the loudest scream I had screamed in my entire life. I would have rather had all of my teeth pulled off than the pain I felt that day. In fact, I almost fainted and I almost felt they had to hold me down. So that would happen at 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day. So then the next day, there must have been like 15 people. They heard about it. We had 200 people in the seminary. This was in the, but we only had 50 people and or 62 people in the novitiate. We had a lot of people in the novitiate. Okay, so there I am sitting there, and they put the 2 drops on, and then they all have to hold me and go, boy, this is better than the movies. This is really exciting. They really liked it. They liked to see me suffer. They did. They were not nice people. So then the next day they did it, and there were more people there. They go, this is now, and I go, oh, come on, you guys. And he goes, well, this is like, we've never seen this suffering before. So I said, okay. So then I would sit there and I could put the drops in, but it wasn't hurting that much after a while. Little by little, people kept on going, well, it's no more fun. So I was cured. This is a true story. No added attractions to it. But anyway, that was interesting. Yeah. So that's why I can't hear it. Can you imagine all that story? And just to let you know why I can't hear that well out of this year. I could still hear, but not very well. And this year was okay. But now my hearing is down to, people go, you better put your hearing aids on. Oh, I forgot to put them on, because they know right away now. Because they go, and I go, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you hear it? Okay, go get your hearing aids and put the hearing aids on. Ah, beautiful. Now I can hear what they're saying about me. Not nice. Not nice. No, some are nice things. Okay, so here we are talking about nothing. I feel like, who's that guy that Cantinflas, say a lot of stuff and it means nothing. Or that show that was on where nobody knew what was going on, but it was the #1 comedy series. I forget what it was called. It's the name of a comedian. But anyway, um, it all started because of these grapes. The Salesians saved Cesar Chavez from getting killed. Well, I know because it was during the time when we were striking against protesting one of the largest distributors of grapes, Safeway. No grapes. One day I bought some grapes. I forgot all about it. So help me God, I wasn't doing it to be mean. And I forgot, oh, Father, oh, sacrilege, Mm-hmm. But I was the one out there with a little sign, do not buy grapes. With my little collar on, thinking it was so cool. And we did. We made a big impression. They had to change the way they did things and the way they did things in the growers in Watsonville and all over the United States. And I'm sure it influenced all over the world. Cesar Chavez. But they had a thing out for him that they were going to kill him. And he had 2 huge, big Mexican American guys, with these huge police dogs. I mean, they looked vicious. And they came and they wanted to use our place as a hiding place for Caesar. So they did. And he stayed in our place. It wasn't really ours, it was St. Paul's Church. And nobody knew where he was, but we did. But I wasn't there yet. I met him later on in the university. It was a nice meeting. I got to talk to him. It was a wonderful. I took pictures with him. It was just a wonderful meeting with a holy, saintly, flawed, yes, but come on, look at Saint St. Augustine. Whoa, read his life. What a bad guy. But then he changed. And that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to change from good to bad, not from bad to not from from bad to good, not from good to bad. I got that straight, thank God. So that's Caesar Chavez' story. Um, yeah, I've been very fortunate in my life. I've always been in the right spot at the right time. Um, Without my even, well, God knew, I think, that I liked to do plays. Since I was a little boy, He injected me with drama and art. My mother was an artist, she really was. She fixed some of the biggest statues in our church and other churches. When they saw it, they'd go, "Who did that?" And it goes, "Oh, Mrs. Montez." So then they call her and they go, "Could you paint our statue?" Sure. She did it for free. She never asked for money for anything. That's why I'm poor, because I don't know how to ask. I know how to spend, but I don't know how to ask. So send me money. See? And then nobody, oh, he's just joking. Don't send him anything. Poor thing. I'm starving to death here in this beautiful, no, I'm not. I'm getting fatter than a little pig. But other than that, yeah. So my mother was an artist. She won first place at the Los Angeles County Museum, no, not museum, the the county fair, the Los Angeles County Fair in Pomona, which is kind of weird. If it's the Los Angeles County Fair, why don't they have it in the county? But no, they have this huge compound in Pomona. And they have this huge, 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 huge area for arts and crafts. And my mother, with her Our Lady of Guadalupe, won first place in the religious category. It was a beautiful statue, except now my friends, the Marhanikis, have it. I gave it to them because she said, "Please give it to me. I'm going to go for a cancer thing," and she got cured. And it wasn't the statue; it was the one who represented that statue, the Virgin Mary. Really helped her out. Marie, Marie, Marie. So they have it in their home. I wish I'd taken a picture of it. Send me a picture of it, Marhanikis. Okay, so yeah. So she won first place, my mama. Well, anyway, that's where I get my artistic talents, I think. And also drama, theater. I always loved theater. When I was a little boy, I remember we were like 5 or 6 years old. We did our first play, me and my little neighborhood friends. And what we did was, in the old days, everybody had a cellar. Did you know that in LA? They built the homes like they built them in the Midwest. Okay, in California, in Los Angeles. Here in San Francisco, they built them like they built them in New York or Boston. They were all smushed together, well, like in New York. Well, not even like like a Eastern city. This place here is like an Eastern city, but not LA. They all built separate homes. Everybody had their own separate home, not like today. Now they're all living in little Star Wars little huts up there, like those little monkey people. So anyway, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah. So then we got together. We put costumes on, and we didn't know what we were gonna do. We're just gonna do a little show. We're gonna laugh and clap and sing. So this was the cellar, and it was kind of like at a slant, and then the doors open like that, and you came out. So we had all the people sit in chairs. They took them from the dining room, and we're together. It was just our moms and dads, and well, our moms, because it was during the day. Our dads were working, and all the people that were there. Remember the housewife era. And so they were all sitting there, and then we came out. Dun, 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 we opened the thing. We did the little thing. We played, and we charged them. I think it was a nickel each, or a penny. It was a lot in those days. With the nickel, you could go buy a candy bar, a big one, not those little weeny ones that they have now. But so we did our first show then. Then I knew this is what a little 6-year-old would like to do. I'm sure somebody else organized it kind of, but I felt like I was there. So then I went to a school, Lourdes. First I went to a public school, then I went to Lourdes, and I I didn't like Catholic schools. Nuns, although our nuns were great. They weren't the strict yucky nuns you see in movies, and they slap you with the ruler on. That was a bunch of baloney. We had great nuns. It wasn't much baloney maybe in other schools, but in ours we had great nuns. Presentation, and now there no longer exists. Once the last nun who lives right here on Church Street in San Francisco, in their home, that's the only thing they have left, more or less. And it's so sad because I love the presentation sisters. They were the best educators that I could ever want for. And in those days, all the sisters were the best educators. All my friends that went to Salesian High School and that went to Our Lady of Lourdes had great jobs. No, this or that job. They were all in City Hall, police department, attorneys, lawyers, surgeons, famous surgeons like Sakamoto, I think his name was. No, more. It begins with a name, but he was one of the most famous surgeons coming out of the University of Chicago. Uh, just amazing. And yeah, boxers. We had fine boxers. We had Little Willie G and the Midnighters, musicians. We had the Blue Satins who opened up for the Beatles at the Dodger Stadium. We had, from the Christian Catholic education we got, just amazing. Doesn't mean that the other people weren't amazing and they have excellent schools, but with the little they had, they did a lot. They really educated us. So, Joey, Jose,
Yes, Father.
are you going to use the you know what?
No.
Well, come here.
Quick.
Come here.
Yes.
Take that thing, take it off. Take it out. Come here.
No.
No. Come here. This is one of my students from 1970.
Good afternoon,
His
everybody.
name is
How you doing?
Jose, but we don't use last names.
No.
Do you see Jose? Come over here. Oh, dear. Look at that,
Look at
Jose.
that. How are
Don't
you
get too
guys?
close.
Yes.
No,
Good.
we've been here talking. We got tested. I got tested twice. Come on.
Me too.
Yes, he got tested
several
twice. And yeah, so what do you remember from those days? Remember?
Your drama, all the
yeah,
high
no,
school and
see,
everything.
See,
you know?
right away.
Was a good teacher, but then as I left, I lost a little contact with him
Yes.
in the last couple we have. But he's still very strict when it comes to plays with the kids. But he's all right. We just got to tame him.
That's right. That's
Blessings, everybody. I gotta
Yeah.
go back.
Take care. He's right now. We're gonna go in about 15 minutes. We're gonna go.
Yeah, take it down.
Okay. Bye bye.
Take care.
Thank you for being around.
You're welcome.
Bye bye. That's Jose. And Jose came from a family of how many kids in your family? 12 kids. I remember visiting little beds like this. Lots of little beds. 12 kids, and the father was a hardworking man, and the mom, oh my gosh, she's a doll. The wonderful people. Wonderful people. Where's my key?
Key to the hall.
Where's my key?
I have one here, but I need a hall key. Sorry.
Okay, give me my key and I'll trade. We're gonna go feed the nation right now. As soon as I get out of here, I will go. Who says I go? Who's that? Is that Anna? Oh, here. Bye. Say hi to her for me.
Yes.
Okay, so, oh dear, what's this? Okay. Okay, so, yeah, so that's Jose. He was one of my best workers, and not my student as such, but he was the one that helped me so much. Whenever I needed anything, he was there. And very nice young man. Helped me no end. So, yeah. So where were we? I forgot where we were. I got interrupted. Do you remember what I was talking about, Vicky? And do you remember Rosa? And do you remember Desiree? And do you remember Deborah? Hancock? Ana Luna? Do you remember what I was talking about? You are an amazing priest. Oh, there's Cornelius. He's the priest too. Hi, Scott. I forgot where I was. Oh, well, anyway, let me see if I can remember. Mind over matter over mind, really. But, oh yeah, about Well, anyway, they hit me with a snowball, and then after that, my mind was going, and then after that, which is kind of sad when your memory is like forget it. So yeah, okay, so that's it, I guess, for today. Oh, I have 10 minutes. Somebody asked me a question. Please, quickly, quickly, question. Oh, there's one. Okay, this one is easy. Well, no, not really, because see, is Halloween really detrimental to the health of a child because of the demons and the death and the Satan images and the witches and the witchcraft and all that? Give me a break. Are you nuts? Now, the bad thing that's happening is that some of the preachers don't have enough time to preach about good things, and they don't teach you what God would like you to know, which is more important than one day of the year where kids are going to have some fun and you're ruining it for them by saying, oh, the devil, and it has these origins in the Druids, or it had the origins in some type of a festival, or for the devil or the demons or the underworld or the gods, or that's so ridiculous. Now, maybe before, that's where it began or whatever. But what about now? Don't inject ideas into people's minds so that you ruin their lives for them. They're especially little kids that like to go out trick or treating, and for them, they have no notion of what happened in the past. They just want to go out there and have candy, and the parents are nice, they're taking them around. You vilify the parents, you make them look like they're taking them to on a one-way ticket to hell, and it's sad. Don't come from another country and tell me, our dear priests that come from other nations who are not that educated about culture in America, don't go and tell me what my culture should be when you are having, for instance, you're burning with firecrackers the figure of what's his name, one of the apostles, the bad guy Judas. I mean, aren't we supposed to love people, even our enemies? And there you are. We're going to destroy Judas. Yay, kill the guy. He might be in heaven. You'll be sorry. Okay, well, that's something else. But what about the pastorela that you have in Mexico? I'm just not picking on Mexico. That's just because they have it there. I don't know if they have it in the other nations south of the border. But what about that? How come they let the devil come out there? And who am I going to bring to? Isn't that bad because you have the devil in that story of Jesus and the birth? I don't think so. But then you come up here and you say, oh, it's the devil thing. Then don't do that, because I had one kid come one day. It was a Sunday after Halloween had been there. I think it was Thursday, and so it was Sunday, and we were giving out the candy that was left over. The kids were really happy, except for one kid who goes, I don't want to touch it. No, it's from the devil. Where'd you learn that at? Oh, at our other church where we go. I'm not going to say which, but don't be doing that. Oh, but it's pagan. We can't have our. Hey, listen, the church you go to was a pagan temple, you know. The building, that's where they got the idea of having a church, which is really not the church. We're the church. We are the community of believers in Jesus Christ. That's what we call ecclesia, the church. Iglesia. That's the church. And where did they celebrate Mass before? The first Mass? In a home, El Cenáculo, but it's a room. I was there a few months ago in the Holy Land. It was a room. Well, and how do we know they kept on celebrating it? They were must have celebrated when Paul was talking to this big group of people in this home, and people were all over the place. And there was a kid kind of leaning over on the window listening. St. Paul must have been boring, and so he fell off the window, cracked his head, and died. And then St. Paul came back and revived him and all that. Okay, nice story, but they were in their homes. It would have been nice if they had had that tradition. We would know each other as we're celebrating with people in our homes. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, Father.
I'll see you in a little while.
Yeah.
We have to go deliver food to the needy right now, because they can't come here and pick up gigantic boxes that the government is giving us. Thank you, Trump. And some of them too, though. They get on the bus, and I said, no, that's not going to happen. So what we do is we put those boxes in my car, and we go all over the place. We go miles down that way, and a couple of miles down that way, and 1 mile down that way, and close by and all that. But that's what we have to do. That's the Jesus work. Okay, back to Halloween. The poor kid, he goes, I can't eat that candy. It's the devil's. I go, it's not the devil's. I'll tell you why. Who do you think made the candy? People or the devil? People. Who do you think made people? The God loves people. God. Then God helped that man make your candy. So eat it. No, I can't. I can't. That's what you do. You create that type of a world for kids. Don't do it. Because like I said, the temples we worship in happened because of that dilly-dally that emperor who said, now every Theodosius, I think it was, yeah, and he said, now everyone must be Christian. Okay, before we were persecuting them, now everybody, well, they were looking for some place, uh, and they found a temple that fitted them, that suited them, because it had pews. Well, there were benches. Oh, look at the benches, how nice. We can fit a lot of Christians in here. And then they had a thing called a Tarabolium, where they had gigantic pillars, and on top a slab of whatever material, and then they'd make a funnel, they'd kill a bull, blood would come down and wash like Jesus. But it's a pagan thing. And they said, okay, let's use these. Okay, so then, but it would have been nicer if they had a bit intimacy, that the religion would have grown slowly and all that. But all of a sudden, everybody, whether you like it or not, you're Christian, Catholic Christian, or, well, in those days, Christian, you could call them. And things like that. What about St. Thomas Aquinas, our beloved St. Thomas Aquinas, whom everybody loves? Well, some people don't. They fight against him. But he had some great proofs for the existence of God. Where do you think he got them from? The idea, and even the proofs, from a pagan, Aristotle. So we can't touch that because it's pagan stuff. The church is not that way. The church is not that way. It picks from the best of everything that creation has to offer, or humans have to offer, and it offers it cleanly to you, because all that knowledge comes from God. All power comes from God too. Oh, but Hitler didn't get power from God. Yes, he did. He misused it. Can you imagine if Hitler had ruled his nation like John F. Kennedy ruled America for a little while? Germany would be the superpower right now, not us. Certainly not us. It would be so far advanced, and Hitler would have done a wonderful job if he had just done things in a godly and human and Christian way. You know that he was in the seminary. Did you know that? No, he wasn't in seminary. He went to a school. I think they threw him out though. They knew better. I think he knifed some kid or something. So, but I mean, it's just you make your choices, you make your decisions, you make where you want to be. But you can only do it with the help of God. You can't do it by yourself, and you have to do it with the help of everybody. And you have to put everybody behind you. You're not super me. You're not the center of your world. God is. And he says, always regard other people almost more than you would take care of yourself. But you have to take care of yourself first, of course. You have to do the best to take care of yourself as best you can. Go see the doctor when they tell you to. Go do take your medicine, et cetera, et cetera. Or go to a curandero, cures and things, but do it. Take care of your body. Take care of your soul. Take care of your person, period. But don't be foolish. Don't do things that later on you will regret saying, and ruining kids' lives by saying Halloween is from the devil and all that stuff. I go Halloweening, and I like to give out candies in front of the church, and other priests, ooh. And we even had a Halloween dance, and somebody from the other parish in the church said, oh, and then there was a church next to ours that had a dance on. I called that person right away to him, and I really gave it to him. Don't you ever, I said, because I don't go to your church and start saying, oh, this tradition from the Latinos is bad and you shouldn't do it. And please, Jesus. Oh, it's not just people that come from south of the border. There's also these other priests that say that too, because I think they don't have too much to say after a while. And they start making up all these silly little things about bad Halloween, and they put it in the internet and all that. Please, Jesus. And then there's that bishop that I'm not going to say the word, but that bishop, Big and No, was talking against our Pope. He just doesn't. Everybody thinks, oh, he's holy and he wants to put the people that are right. No, he's not. He's full of himself. He's full of, I'm not going to say whom, and he wants to get back at the Pope. Yes, the Pope has made some errors, and but you don't go and make up stories. That's calumny, calumnia, calumnus, because he said that the Pope knew something when he really didn't know. And then he had to hide the bishop for a while. Then he goes, I guess he said, well, I'm not going to hide. I'm going to go out there and make a name for myself again. Well, he didn't make it. But some people still follow him. And they hate the Pope and they hate Vatican II and they hate this and that. It wasn't Vatican II that started all this turmoil in the church. Do you know when most of the crimes happened in the church in the 1930s, 40s, especially in the 50s, 60s, and 70s? Way before, in the 60s, early 60s, way before Vatican II. So the priests were pretending to be the church, and everybody was all happy because nobody was rubbing anybody's shoulders, and all this stuff was going on underneath. And Jesus said that. It looks really good on the top, but the inside is like bodies putrefying. And now we find out that's what was happening. It wasn't Vatican II. It wasn't Vatican II that started the hippie movement and Woodstock. It wasn't Vatican II. It was just the culture. And Kennedy got killed during that time in Vatican II, time in '63, and then the whole United States went kaput, kind of. Yeah, it was the times. It wasn't Vatican II. Some of you, I can tell you right now, have never read even a paragraph from all the stuff that came out of Vatican II, all the documents. Maybe I should do that. I should start reading some of the, like Lumen Gentium, the light of the people, the light of the tribes. That's a good translation. But the light of the people's Jesus. And then it says very clearly that the church is like the moon. Sometimes it's full, beautiful, beaming, lots of folks, and everybody kind of like happy and stuff, and the church is great. And all of a sudden, the shade starts taking over. And all of a sudden, it's like there's just a little bit of a light of the moon, and it looks like the moon's going to go away. And then all of a sudden, it starts to beam again and become full. Right now, we're at the point where we're just getting a little bit more light in that nice little streak in the moon. That's a nice way of talking about it. A nice analogy, a nice comparison. Well, my little folks, I have to go deliver food now to the masses. And oh no, I'm out. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.